All right, guys, let's talk about it. This right here is the all-new Porsche Cayenne Electric, and in this video, we're gonna go over everything they've done to it to make it different than a regular Cayenne, as well as just to compete with the other electric cars out there. And starting with the performance numbers and the charging figure, that's really important. We don't know exact range, but we're estimating around 350 miles. We'll wait till official numbers come out on that. But as far as the power figures, we do know that. And this one is special because it's the electric turbo. So it's a top of the line performance one, and it makes up to 1,139 horsepower, and that's in launch control mode. So if you remember the Taycan, it has the peak power at launch control. It doesn't have that like day-to-day when regular driving. That's gonna be closer to 850 horsepower. And then if you hit the push to pass, which remember seeing on the Taycan Turbo GT, that's gonna add about 150 or so horsepower. So just those three different power figures, depending on whether you're doing day-to-day driving, want additional boost on the road, or if you wanna do full out 0 to 60 times, you have that peak 1,139 horsepower, which is pretty impressive. Now they did make a lot of improvements from the electric battery platform, the motors, to give you better charging as well as better recuperation. So on the recuperation side, it can generate up to 600 kilowatts back into the battery, which is pretty impressive. And then on top of that, the battery, which is you charge via 2 ports, we'll show this side because this isn't the one that has the NACS charging port, which we will be getting in the US. But as far as charging speeds go, this can go from 10% to 80% in less than 16 minutes, which is pretty wild. And I'm gonna be curious to see what it's like to actually charge at a fast charging station. But on top of that, I don't wanna get into that too much. That'll be more to come later on. There's also gonna be the ability to have a wireless charging pad you can put at home, in your office or wherever. You drive over it, line it up with the cameras, and wirelessly charge this car. So you could basically get a full charge overnight just by leaving it parked, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like your phone. You just place it over it and you're good to go. But enough about the numbers. Let's actually hop inside because they made it look really cool and pretty functional inside. So starting inside, the first thing you're gonna notice is this new curved OLED display system. It's around like 12-ish inches large, and man, like the fact that it's curved gives you so many interesting perspectives. So you get this menu here, which goes away and slides up. This is a prototype software, so bear with me. And you get your quick menus here. So you have your, radio controls, your personal settings, sound settings, your mood lighting, and then drive modes and stuff like that. You can customize this. You can hold and move these around as you like, which is cool. You also have a digital twin up here, and you can quickly access stuff. We've seen this on like Lucid, Tesla, stuff like that. This is a thing, but it's executed really well here. And if I go to navigation, I want to show you guys the navigation real quick. I can move this out of the way, and it's really cool to see that kind of perspective change from going from the angled portion to the flat portion. I mean, it's pretty responsive. This is a prototype software, but it looks so cool. I just tap here. You can put an address, your home, whatever. We'll just navigate to Home Depot real quick, all the way in Chicago. And it'll route all your stops, your charging stops, how long you need to stay at those charging stops. I mean, Porsche's route guidance has been pretty ahead of the curve when it comes to that stuff. And yeah, I don't even know if we want to wait for it, but yeah, anyway, we'll cancel out of that for now. But it is really cool to see this and also see how they implemented a quick menu that's only gonna be here that you're mostly gonna touch, but you can still interface with the top part, and it's one coherent display setup. Now they kept physical buttons here. So you'll see temperature controls here, nice physical tactile, they feel great. Fan speed, which is great. You don't have to go in any menus. And then a volume knob, guys. This is huge. And then they have this palm rest here because they know, okay, you wanna quickly access these, quickly go to your menus, or your volume, excuse me. And if you want heated seats, you just quickly tap there, turn it on, turn it off, lower it, all that good stuff. Now I wanna talk about the seats really quickly. These are their newest performance sport seat on the turbo model. So they have massaging functionality. They have obviously heated and ventilated like we saw. This one, I mean, you can option this to your heart's content. You get the Porsche crest embossed in the headrest, which is nice. Turbo down here right below that. They also have heated armrests on the front driver, left and right, and passenger side, as well as the rear armrests are heated, which is pretty cool. And we'll show that later in the video. But you can also get an optional passenger screen. This is I think it's, what did they say, 15 inches? It's huge. You can watch movies on, 14 inches, I believe. And it won't distract the driver, but they can control navigation, all the good stuff. And it looks really good. I mean, it's a very nice display system. It's all under one coherent sheet of glass. So it's one big kind of display system, let's call it. But let's talk about the practicality. The center console, I think, is pretty nifty. They put turbo here on this armrest, which I mentioned is heated. You do get a tray back here. You can just toss a phone in, and this thing Sorry if I was in the way there. This thing slides out of the way, and this thing also, there's a tray here, but you can push this out of the way to get this large center console setup. And you get your wireless charger there. You have USB ports, this little like strap here if you want to, you know, hold things in place, and these cup holders, which you can actually, by pulling this tab out, remove completely. And I want to show you these cup holders because I feel like they put a little extra effort into them. They have these like squishy walls here. They're not like fingers and like rattle against it. They're squishy and they're meant to like fully flex out depending on the size of your cup. If you got the big gulp or you got the little skinny Red Bull can, it makes sure your drink doesn't move around, which I mean, if you're driving this the way Porsche wants you to be driving this, I think that's a nice little attention to detail. I like that you can remove it and you get this huge center console bin down here, or you just clean it out, slot it back in place. It locks in really easily, just like that, and you're good to go. Another thing I want to show you guys as I close this is back here. You see there's an additional tray here. You just toss things here. If you just want to put stuff like, let's say a wallet, whatever, just don't forget it because it's out of sight at that point. But stuff you just want to keep there, it's nice. You just have a nice little storage tray for you. Looking up top at the panoramic glass roof, I'm going to tap this button right here, and you can automatically dim it or open it. And you'll notice there's a fixed portion back here and a moving portion. So the fact that they have this feature, which you've seen on the Taycan, I'll show you right now. The fact that you have this feature that you've seen on the Taycan on a fixed and moving glass is a pretty big deal. And let me show you the menu actually down here. So you have your two settings I showed you. You can cover just the front or the rear. And actually, if you want to go to the glass, let's say the kids want shade, but the parents don't, you got that. And if the parents want the shade and the kids don't, you got that. And you got clear and you got matte. You got so many different options here. And it's so responsive and fun to play with. And the fact that you have the shortcut buttons on the screen in this nice little short menu right here is really convenient. I think that's a nice attention to detail. Instead of having to slide it or whatever, you quickly tap up here and the menu instantly comes up right there for you to customize. And you still have the drag button if you want that to play around with it, but you don't have to do that. So I like it. It's cool tech, but it's also functional. And if you don't want it, you can open it up or close it and not have to think about it. Now let's hop onto the driver's side and see what you get from my perspective. Okay, so let's first look at the door panel real quick and see what they've done here. It's honestly a really nice setup. You get this like carbon weave setup over here, some ambient lighting, and this actually will alert you if, let's say, your lane keep, let's say you're getting out of your lane, this will start to flash at you, or any different like the driver assistance features will actually engage with these lights that go here, and they're actually on the dash. You'll see a light strip actually if you poke in real quick that goes across the dash. So if you got, let's say, rear or front cross traffic alerts, it'll like light up or give you different types of signals to alert you, which is a nice visual on top of just the sounds in case there's things you need to be aware of. But let's go back here to the door panel. Nice leather armrest, your switch gear, which is actually really nice and detailed. I like that a lot. Leather door handle, an electric door latch, which is pretty cool. Nifty, it's very sleek. I feel like Porsche's making these like slimmer and sleeker every single time. Memory switches right here, nice leather surfaces, and then a metal Burmester sound system. On this one, this is like fully loaded, and that's nice. But let's hop in here real quick. Look at the nice aluminum anodized turbo door sill right there. And let's talk about what the driver is going to be seeing day to day. This nice leather wrap steering wheel. You got the Turbo Night, because it's a turbo model, on the Porsche crest right there. This is your drive mode selector, which we've seen before. And then your push to pass is the center button right here. You push that, you get that additional boost of 100 and some horsepower. No paddle shifters because there's no gearbox. You do have a larger curved OLED display system. And these buttons up here are actually tactile. So you can turn traction control off. You have your suspension setup, your air lift setup if you want, because it has adaptive, it has air suspension standard, and then your parking sensors if you want to disable that. So that's pretty cool. And on the left side, you have, I believe this is your like electric sound, if I'm not mistaken, a custom button, your lights, and then your fog lights right there. Now, what's interesting is they have this bar up here, right? But right behind that is the augmented reality heads-up display. And if you remember the Porsche Macan Electric, that had the same system. It's just carried over onto this, so it'll project your navigation onto the road in front of you, tell you when to turn, if there's a turn coming up. Really nice visual feedback if you're using the navigation in the car, and it will integrate with that augmented reality heads-up display, which is really cool. You do now have the push start button, not the turn style ignition. We've seen this since the Taycan. All electric cars are getting this now, even the gasoline ones are, but it's on the left-hand side because of that Porsche heritage. So there's some give and take into the future of the world, and then also Porsche's history. So, but with that, let's actually hop into the second row seats because they made some improvements there as well. So in the back seats, you actually have a lot of room. They push the wheels out to fit the larger battery packs, so your wheelbase is longer, and the rear seats benefit the most from it as well. So I'm sitting behind myself. I'm not tall, I'm not 5'8", but people in the 6 feet range can sit behind themselves pretty comfortably. And then good headroom because of that glass roof. You get a lot of it. There's no sunshade. There's no physical shade that goes above. You're just relying on the dimming. But they've been putting these in vehicles for a while, and they've been pretty proven to insulate you from the sun. Simple armrest, guys. Big cup holder, small cup holder. Nothing crazy there. I do want to point out these seats are actually power sliding and reclining. So you can recline them back if you want, and then that means they're power folding flat. So if you want more storage space, they would do that automatically. Now, I mentioned the armrests are heated. I'm gonna close the door real quick. And this does have sunshades, which the car is off, but sunshades do come up, and they're actually on this door right here. The sunshades come up right there. And one thing they mentioned, this is the first SUV, the Cayenne, excuse me, to have frameless windows or frameless doors. And I mean, it looks really cool. You can see how thick the glass is for that sound insulation, but it's a nice attention to detail because they did that and they still kept an exterior design element, which is this frame that goes around. You see, doors are soft closing. It's a nice iconic frame and that turbinite trim. And this is a new color actually. It's a new type of green, looks really good. Let's talk about the styling really quickly actually, since we're outside. We do have these massive 22-inch wheels. They have a nice little aero element to them, so they still look good, but they reduce drag a little bit. I mean, obviously it's gonna hurt your range compared to a more aero disc type wheel, but let me show you the width of these tires. They are 325 section R22 tires, which is as wide as what you've seen on a GT3 RS. It's pretty wild, just how wide these tires are. Actually, try to take a peek here from the back. You'll see just how insane the stance is on this, just how wide they go from edge to edge. On an SUV that could do 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds. I mean, you're gonna need that type of grip. But since we're back here, what do you get? You have these, an active spoiler up here. So that pops up, help your downforce, help your stability. A little windshield wiper, nothing crazy. These Porsche letters actually light up. And then obviously your turbo badge. And then on the side, and I'll overlay a shot of it, you get these active aero blades and they'll extend out, which helps reduce drag and improve range. They're saying around 15 miles is the net improvement, and you only get it on the turbo model. The regular base Cayenne Electric does not get this. So, I mean, they get it with a bigger motors, more power consumption, you're gonna lose range. They're trying to give you a little more with that. It's a cool aesthetic feature, but it's also a cool engineering feature. I mean, from a technical standpoint, you're extending your separation and you're giving yourself less drag because of it. So that's designers want nice clean lines, engineers want nice harsh lines. That's the compromise from performance meets aesthetic aspect. Let's continue on the side here and show you the charge ports, which we showed you. You have them on two sides. This is not the NACS, but you just press right there, it slides in, and you can't have them both open at the same time. So if I go press that one, it'll close it. Now, if you want to close this yourself, they're saying it just closes automatically. So you just get in the car, and after 2 minutes, if you do nothing, it will close. But if you get in the car and start driving, it closes. So you'll never embarrass yourself leaving your charge port open when you have the car, which is nice. I think it's a nice little thing that's don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. Let's show you the front here real quick. Nice little electric badge on the front fender, gloss black on the over fenders, and then these lights. I'm actually gonna turn on the DRLs so you can see the new LED matrix headlights. Let's go right there. So it might turn off in a bit just because they're on a timer, but they got this nice blue tint to them. And we've seen this on the Taycan when that came out. It looks really cool. Obviously this has a lot of functionality that we might not get because European models have some pretty cool tech that we don't get here in the US. Hopefully that changes, but they're very capable, very good for visibility. And then they just add a nice design element to the exterior of the car. Coming down here, you do see functional side vents here, help guide that air around the wheel, which is great. But I want to show you up front here, you have these active shutters, and these open and close depending on the cooling demand for the electrical systems. So they'll close when the car is moving at higher speeds to reduce drag. That helps the air guide around the front of the car. But if you're getting hard on it or if you're parked, they'll open up, one, so it looks aggressive, it looks really cool, and two, so it feeds air when the car isn't moving. So if you take a step back, actually, you'll just see a kind of overall design. I know it's pretty dark, guys, because of the lighting, but it's kind of like the Macan in the sense of the similar design language with the clean front end, very aerodynamically oriented. The coefficient of drag they mentioned was 0.245, 0.24 if you round down, 1.25 if you round up. So for an SUV this big, and actually we'll come along the side and look at kind of the overall profile, to get that kind of drag coefficient is pretty impressive. So, and then another thing you'll appreciate is how wide out the wheels have been pushed. So that wheelbase extension, so you get more interior space, but also you get a bigger battery pack. So that's the real engineering reason, but also you benefit from that interior space. Let's talk about pricing though real quick. Base model on a Cayenne Electric is around $110,000. Obviously it's gonna be changing depending on, you know, all the stuff that's going on right now. But if you wanna get the turbo model, they're saying around $163,000. So, and that's base price. You wanna option it, you wanna do paint to sample, you wanna add the nice embossed headrest, all that good stuff, you're gonna start adding to that price. But the Cayenne was already a pretty expensive vehicle. And I do wanna mention that they are still keeping the Cayenne Electric, they're keeping the gas car. This is just for people who want a fully electric family SUV. And since we're back here, I actually have to mention the towing, because family people, you know, people have families, like to haul things. This thing can tow up to 7,700 pounds. Now, will that impact the range? 1,000%. What is the range gonna be when you're towing 7,700 pounds? Probably not a lot. But if you wanna do it, you can do it. So it's just nice that they're trying to make the Cayenne Electric just as capable from a performance standpoint, giving you that 0 to 60 time, giving you that horsepower figure, giving you the suspension, which we didn't even actually talk about, but also giving you the luxury and that everything you expect from a car that can do it all, but also have that performance from Porsche. Let's talk about the suspension real quick, because I didn't mention it. You get air suspension standard, that's one. You have Porsche's Active Ride, which we saw on the Panamera and the Taycan. So the hydraulic suspension, the anti-roll, all that stuff. They brought that stuff into here, so you'll actually feel like the car's planted when you're actually turning, and you don't need an anti-roll bar because of how strong this Active Ride suspension is. What else? You have Porsche torque vectoring, because you have a torque vectoring rear axle, and that's just to the rear motor. And then you also have rear wheel steering, 5 degrees. So it's a newer system, up to 5 degrees rear wheel steer, which makes this car more maneuverable, because it's a big SUV. It's nice in the city if you're parking in tight spaces to have that rear wheel steering, but it also works from a performance standpoint. So if you're at higher speeds, it keeps the vehicle more stable, and that's really nice. So talked about suspension, we talked about performance, we talked about charging, we talked about the inside, the outside, and all of it. But if you guys have any questions about this vehicle, drop them in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you guys enjoyed it, smash that subscribe button, like button as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.